Hello, my name is Kimberly Leadbeater, and I'm a registered dietitian with the HKPR District Health Unit. I've been working at the Health Unit for almost 18 years now, and I have been involved with school nutrition for most of that time. I'm currently the chair for Northumberland Food for Thought, and I work very closely with Beth Kalisnik, the Community Development Coordinator for Student Nutrition Programs in Northumberland County. Pleased to welcome you to today's professional development session and would like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit and view this presentation virtually. Historically, Northumberland Food for Thought has provided in-person training for student nutrition program staff and volunteers. But the world has changed over the past few years, and unfortunately, this has become a thing of the past. I hope you will be open to today's virtual topic, and I encourage you to reach out to me with any questions. I will be providing my email contact on the last slide, or you can always connect with me through Beth. Sure, you are aware, student nutrition program staff and volunteers are significant adult influencers in the eyes of students. Whether you signed up for it or not, you are a role model. As such, what you say and do carries a lot of value with the students you encounter. We all eat food, and as adults, we have opinions and personal knowledge on what works for ourselves. We grew up and live in a diet culture, a reality that impacts how we talk about food. As adults, we need to be very mindful what we say about food around children to reduce the possibility of any unintended negative consequences. My goal today is to inspire you to be neutral when discussing food with or around students. The Student Nutrition Program guidelines are for program staff and volunteers to follow. They are not meant for you to try to teach to children. Nutrition education is meant to be delivered in the classroom by educators. I really hope you leave here feeling less pressure. It's not your responsibility to encourage children to become healthy eaters. So, just what is the issue, you may ask? How we talk about food can affect our students' relationship with food. The language we use matters. It reflects attitudes towards food that suggest it is either good or bad, and that can encourage restriction and poor eating habits. Food education is meant for the classroom, where it can be delivered in a way that is protective against disordered eating behaviors and supports the development of health-promoting eating habits and a positive relationship with food in the long term. Environment you create in your student nutrition program and the words you use when talking about food can play a considerable part in a student's perception of food and health. Student nutrition programs should be a neutral and protective zone. So while we all have our own story and beliefs, we need to do our best to check our bias and maintain neutral perspectives. Remember, all foods have the same moral value. Foods are not good or bad. Eating fruits and vegetables will not make you good, nor will eating candy and chips make you a bad person. I'm sure most of us grew up thinking that a cookie was a treat. But a cookie is, well, just a cookie. If cookies become associated with being a treat, then children are naturally going to want more of them. So why not just call cookies cookies? As I mentioned earlier, children are always listening, even if you're not talking to them. If you have ever said something like, "I was bad today, I had 2 donuts, I feel so gross," then you are guilty of diet talk, and this is not something that we should be saying. We need to be kinder to ourselves. We are not bad because we eat donuts, nor are we good because we eat apples. And when we definitely do not want children overhearing these confusing messages. We also need to respect children's views on foods and whether they want to try them or not. If they don't want it, we need to accept that they are trusting their own bodies and may not want it, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that they won't see a friend eating it and be willing to try it tomorrow. As a registered dietitian, I am in no way suggesting that we ignore Canada's food guide. This is the pillar of healthy eating, and it is the backbone of the Student Nutrition Program Nutrition Guidelines. So, just what am I suggesting? That while children are in an environment where they are being served food, we talk about it in a neutral way and leave nutrition education to the classroom. To be clear, I am not suggesting that all foods are nutritionally equal. We know they are not. Foods contain different nutrients, but this does not mean food choices should be labeled as being good or bad. Oh, what do I mean by food neutrality? All foods have the same moral value. So many factors affect what students choose to eat. Family context and traditions, personal taste and texture preferences, allergies, culture, and even personal life experiences. The great thing is that you don't need to voice concerns about what or how much or how little they are eating. Give yourself the permission to take that responsibility off your plate. Grasping big concepts like balancing food intake, focusing on nutrients for long-term wellness, recognizing different needs for different activity levels and life stages. This is age appropriate for teenagers and adults, not children. As an example, a grade 1 student knowing milk prevents osteoporosis does not translate into a child choosing more dairy products. Kids eat food, not nutrients. Kids have little control over what food is available to them. The food neutral approach takes the attention away from the benefits or consequences of food choices. Instead, it looks at creating a non-judgmental environment for students to feel safe eating a variety of foods. We know that not all foods are nutritionally equal, but children do not need to know or grasp this concept. What are some things that you can do? Get rid of the nicknames. Example, treats, junk, sometimes food. If it's an apple, it's an apple, not a healthy food. If it's a chocolate bar, it's a chocolate bar, not a sometimes food with lots of sugar that's going to rot our teeth. Labeling foods as treats can put them on a pedestal and give them special status, often making the foods seem more appealing. Even though certain foods may be offered less often, they can still be described as food. We should not be teaching children to classify food into good or bad, healthy, unhealthy, everyday versus sometimes. Really, when we do this, we are teaching students that when they eat foods from the unhealthy category, that is a bad choice. It's not. And in classifying it as such, inevitably, we encourage feelings of shame and guilt when we do eat those foods. Remember also that these foods may be readily available at home because of the cost, and we do not want children to feel bad about the foods they are being provided in their homes. Please know that I realize that all school staff and volunteers are doing the very best they can to provide children with a supportive and nurturing environment. This presentation may have been a reiteration of what you're already doing, or maybe it has given you a bit of food for thought. I do hope that you will take away a few key messages. So I'm going to end with 3 simple suggestions. As adult influencers, there are so many opportunities to have a positive impact on the students. Being kind, offering a daily smile, telling a funny joke. My first suggestion is to please lead the nutrition and health talk for the classroom. Please be very mindful to respect a child's natural hunger and fullness cues. So my second suggestion is to please avoid any urge to suggest that a child should be eating more or less or something other than what they have selected for themselves. Finally, I encourage you to approach food in a neutral way without judgment, not just for the students, for yourselves as well. Remember, all foods have the same moral value. In closing, I would like to thank you so much for your time. Please feel free to reach out to me at the email address on this slide if you have any questions. You can also reach me by connecting with Beth. Thank you also for all your efforts in supporting student nutrition programs. You are proof that it really does take a village to raise a child. Thank you.